Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna replace the drive belt on this Volkswagen Golf Mark IV, which I thought I'm not gonna make a video about this car because she is the same as pretty much the same, almost identical to the Bora that I showed you recently. But in that video I mentioned that there is a difference in these engines. This is the same engine actually, 1.9 liter diesel engine, PD engine, and I thought that there is no point of me just making the same video twice. But in my case, the first engine was with hydraulic tensioner, and the difference now it is that this is with mechanical tensioner, which will give me the opportunity to show you this as well. So I'm not gonna get into the details of the removal and mounting the side pieces over here because it is very straightforward. Probably I'm gonna briefly mention this in when I assemble the drive belt, but for now I'm just gonna try to focus on the drive belt itself. So this is the tensioner over here, and as you can see there is the mark. Give me a moment, I'm gonna try to paint it with some marker to be easier for you to distinguish it. Okay guys, hopefully now it is more visible than before. So that arrow that I have marked with white, probably this is gonna be better for you, it is slightly off that opening in the back plate, which is the guide where this arrow should be, and I'm guessing that this means the drive belt is actually a bit stretched and a little bit looser from when the car was adjusted and the drive belt was installed. At least I'm hoping for this to be. I don't think this is over tightened. Probably it is a bit loose, which is completely normal and shows that there is the time for this drive belt to be replaced. Actually, this is my friend's car and he recently bought this thing, so as usual, as every other person out there who buys second-hand car, it should be serviced, so it doesn't matter previous services and stuff like that, because we cannot be sure of when and how this car was serviced. So when I took the cover, I tried to touch this thing and it made this awkward noise, squeaking noise. I don't know why it stopped now, but when I pressed it just to see the tension of this thing, and it made this cracking noise, which meant basically that the drive belt needs replacing, and it is old, because if it is new, the drive belt, I mean, it won't make these noises, cracking noises and stuff resembling this. So at first glance it is in good condition, but when it comes to drive belts, this is not a mark for anything at all. So yeah, we are gonna service this thing. Now I have to set the engine to the factory marks and remove the drive belt and the tensioner. Then I'm gonna jump and buy the new set, and I'm gonna show you how to install them. So yeah, this is gonna be the focus of this video. If you think it is gonna be interesting for you, stay tuned, and I'm gonna quickly disassemble everything over here, and I'm gonna go and buy some parts and show you the assembling process. So in my video, I don't know if you've watched that video when I did the Bora, but that engine is basically the same engine, 1.9 liter PD Volkswagen engine, but the power is different, and I think this is why this is with mechanical tensioner. The one with the more power is with hydraulical tensioner. Anyhow, if you're interested, you can check out that video. Otherwise, I'm hoping that I've mentioned there that there are two different types of tensioners, and I'm going to use this opportunity to show you the difference between the two. Okay guys, so I was trying to adjust the marks before I disassemble the drive belt, and I have actually installed the lower lock pin in its place. I'm gonna try to show you. I have marked with white the mark, so it is gonna be visible. On top over here is the same mark, they are aligned, and this is in its position. But this upper bracket is actually not in its place. This is the original lock pin that should fit over here, but you can see it gets through here and it doesn't get all the way in. It's supposed to go all the way in, but it's stuck. And I took this which is a torque tool that is a little bit tighter in diameter, is a little bit smaller. So when I insert this over here, you can see that actually goes. I'm gonna try to show you how deep it goes. This is, you can see, more than a lock pin. So this is on the mark, but it's not perfectly aligned, and it doesn't allow the proper tool to get inside of the hole. So the other mark that you should make notice is over here for the 4-cylinder engines, and for the 3-cylinder engines is in the back, but this is 4-cylinder, so we are interested in this. And there are two pins that should be aligned with this thing. The gap in between them should be aligned. I'm gonna try to use one more light to show you that. You can see the top pin, and yeah, there is the bottom pin as well underneath. I'm gonna use the white marker once again just to make them a little bit brighter, and I'm gonna try to show you this as well. So what this means is that my drive belt is actually way too old. When I rotated the engine to get it into position, it made these cracking noises. Not loud, a little bit quieter in a way. Noises that were showing me that this drive belt is gone, its life is over, so it needs to be replaced. And the other evidence of this is, I'm gonna locate this light over here. Hopefully it's kind of too bright. I'm gonna switch it off to show you how this is the mark. You can see it, hopefully. This is the arrow that it's supposed to be right over here, but when I rotate the engine clockwise, of course, to get it into position, you can see how much this changed its position from over here where it should be located. It went over here, which is big, way too big difference, and probably this is why I can't lock this in the proper position, but this is not a big deal. Now I'm gonna loosen the sprocket bolts, and I'm gonna loosen the tensioner as well. And this is gonna allow me to adjust this properly. So yeah, I just wanted to show you beforehand how far away from the proper mark this has actually gone. Let's get back to work. Okay guys, so it's time for me to start assembling some of the stuff, because I have some of the parts. There are one or two items that are still missing, but let's see what I have already on my workbench. So this is link stabilizer for the right side. It needs replacing. The timing belt kit plus the water pump, as you can see, and this is the belt for the AC compressor and generator, and along with it I have tensioner pulley for the drive belt as well. Fuel filters, two of them actually, because when I recently, it wasn't long ago, I did some maintenance on these cars, and among other things I kind of missed to replace the fuel filters, so I'm trying to fix that mistake now. And these two bottles with antifreeze for topping up the system. So as you can see, I have fresh set of instructions. They are pretty much the same, with this difference that since I have this mechanical pulley over here, mechanical tensioner, I'm sorry, I have to adjust my assembling process to this thing. So just as a precaution not to miss anything, I used this set, because you can see there is almost all the torques and the specification that I need over here, and it is kind of nice to have them. So what I think I didn't mention this the last time. What it is stated over here is that there is this predetermined distance that have to be followed when this is actually the mounting bracket over here that has to be connected to. This is one of the bushings that holds the engine in place. There is this gap on the both sides, as you can see, that has to be the proper one. And other than that, this is actually on the both engines, since they are the same, the distance is the same as well. Let me show you what that is, in case you're wondering. 14 millimeters in front for this side, for 20, the mark 20 needs to be 14 millimeter, and the back side, when it is actually this is the back side and this is the front side towards the radiator, and then that needs to be at least 10 millimeters minimum. Otherwise, the mechanical tensioner basically has this lug that has to go into the gap onto the engine block, that has to be inserted in place, and as I showed you, the arrow needs to go inside of that port that it is on the back metal plate. And yeah, this is it. So what I'm gonna do now is I have actually cleaned a bit, prepared myself for the water pump, and I'm gonna replace these two bolts over here because I have new set, and I have positioned this sprocket in place. You can see how easily this goes in and out. This is the lock pin, and since I tried to explain as much as I could, these are the two pins that have to surround the 4Z mark on there, and I have added some marks on my own because they are easily noticed when the drive belt is in place. I see better when there is white paint in the background. It is kind of easy, and the other sprocket is in place, so I'm gonna quickly install the water pump and the two bolts over here, and I'm gonna be ready to install the timing belt as well, so let's get busy. So the water pump is installed, and you saw the nuts that I had to replace as well. They are installed. So the next thing is to install the tensioner, the pulley, and the belt itself, but I'm gonna kind of mix it all in one. And before I start sliding the belt, it is important to mark that this has to be loose and turned anti-clockwise to the maximum that it can go. So when the tensioner starts tensioning the belt, this is gonna balance itself into the needed position. So in order for this to have enough play, it has to be in the reverse position, anti-clockwise I mean, to its maximum. So once again, this is loose, these are loose enough. It doesn't have to have play in the pulley, it needs to rotate only. So yeah, let's get the driver belt in. Before installing the belt, it is nice to look around and see if there is any marks that are showing the rotation of the belt, the proper rotation, because some belts have a direction. So in my case there is no such thing, so just for convenience I'm gonna install it with the words, with the marks facing me. I don't know why, but I prefer to install it that way. And in this bag is the tensioner, which I'm gonna try not to get this out because apparently it doesn't want to stay in place, this lock pin. So this plug over here, it has a gap on the engine block. Actually I think it is way up in the head, so you need to make notice on with this thing when you install it. Otherwise, this is the arrow that needs to go in this gap over here, And pretty much this is it. I'm gonna remove this once I install my key over here and start tensioning. And the pulley, of course. This is pretty straightforward. So something is wrong. I can't seem to get this into position, and actually I think this pin is out of its place, and this is the reason. I'm gonna remove the belt once again and try to insert this into its place and attempt once again. Unfortunately, I'm back at square one. I think it was the expression. I had to disassemble everything, and the reason is this. I was focused on trying to assemble the drive belt, and I actually noticed that there is something rough. The plastic over here was slightly offset, so I thought that there might be something wrong, and when I inspected it, I found that there was this crack over here near to the water pump. So I took everything apart and was able to get this out of there, and as you can see, there is a major problem. This came out in separate pieces. And why this is so important? The reason is that this hole over here, actually this metal piece, is where the lug for the tensioner is holding. So that lug comes inside of this hole over here, and this actually keeps the drive belt tightened. So when obviously this is broken, and from the vibration and stuff, this can go out because the two pieces can move like this. So if this thing goes out and the drive belt will get loose, so that may result in permanently damaging this engine. So the risk is way too great. I can't leave this as it is, so yeah, I'm gonna have to find a solution to this, eventually to replace it. So I'm gonna try to figure something out for now. So very disappointing. Let's get back to work. Here it is, the new piece. It is second hand, but will do the trick. As you can see, it is one whole thing, so I'm gonna try to install this somehow, and we are gonna hopefully get back on track, and I will be able to install the timing belt. Well guys, once I was brave enough to tighten this properly, it needed just a small tap, just like that, with the metal hammer on the edge of this pulley to get this out of its place. So now I can take it out and mount the plastic cover. But it was very frustrating. I spent quite a bit of time installing this thing on here. As you can see, it is kind of complex system with this bracket and this lever and the bolts inside. So I'm gonna try to show you up close how this thing looks like. So guys, this is my system. I installed this tool over here, and actually this is the original pulley, but I used longer bolts and this metal plate as a support to the central nut, that is the central bolt that the central bolt actually, which is in the camshaft. So this is my system, and it actually worked. So let's start removing this. Well guys, this is it. This is the final result. I actually did this countless times because every time I do this the arrow changes its position. You can see that now it is kind of slightly off to the left, but it's still in its place, and this is this lock pin is getting easily in and out. The pin in the bottom, I'm gonna try to show you, this is actually getting in and out easily enough, and once again the mark is in place. So I ended up fitting the tensioner first, then I started to mount the drive belt, and I tried to start from the crankshaft as it is stated in my spreadsheets, but in the manual, but then install it on the camshaft sprocket, but in a way it slipped from the crankshaft and I ended up installing it over here first, but it doesn't matter. As you can see, everything worked out quite well. Actually, I took the liberty of installing this after this pulley down there after I installed the timing belt, so it was easier this way because it's way too tight otherwise. And as I mentioned, I went through the motion of this engine million times over. It was off camera because I was striving for perfection, but in my case this is what I can do. So I think this is gonna be all for today, and the rest is just simply the covers and the mounting, and I don't know if I'm gonna capture that in frame because I spent way too much time dealing with this car and there isn't anything interesting after this. Okay guys, almost everything is assembled. There were few hiccups here and there, but eventually everything fell into place. You can see there is a completely brand new tensioner, not just the pulley but the whole thing. The new filter is installed as well. At the moment it is empty and I don't know how it is gonna start, if this thing starts, but I'm almost ready. The bumper is not in place still. I just I installed the link stabilizer as well, and everything that it is mechanical and needs to be fitted is fitted. So before I finally assemble the bumper and the headlight, I want to make sure that actually the engine is gonna start. So it is time to crank it and see if this thing runs and how it runs actually. So fingers crossed everything is gonna be okay. So let's give it a try and see. Okay guys, it actually runs and works, so this is good news. Hopefully it's gonna stay like this for long. Thank you for watching. I am hoping that this was interesting, or at least a little bit helpful to you, so you may consider hitting the like button, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and stay safe, stay tuned, and hope to see you in my next video. Bye for now.